And welcome back, everyone, to Pokemon Team Videos. Today's Pokemon Team video is brought to us by, or brought to you by everyone else on YouTube. Now, has been suggested by CJM, longtime viewer of mine, who asked the question, what is Jason Todd, the Red Hood's Pokemon team? Now, normally I'll have just an image in front of the Pokeball on the screen here. Unfortunately, and it's just the character, but unfortunately I couldn't find any image that really fit the quality of that. Normally the images that work for that are the ones that when you go to the image, it has the like checkerboard pattern behind it. So it's really just the image that pops up. Couldn't find that for Red Hood. But either way, this works out fine. And CJ asked, what do I think Jason Todd's Pokemon team is? And I'm going to be honest, this is definitely one of the more difficult ones. Now, some of the Pokemon team videos that I do are not that hard to do. Like, Shaggy, for instance, really wasn't that hard to do. It was like a couple of the last few Mon on his team that were difficult to figure out. Naruto's, anime character. Generally speaking, there's like enough diversity between like their abilities and personality that I can generally make a team without too much difficulty. Jason, though, was a bit more difficult. And that's due to the fact that Jason's personality, there's nothing unique about his personality that could really give me a Pokemon to put on his team. And there isn't a huge amount of, unique things about Jason, when you really think about it, that leads me to find Mon that work perfectly on his team. That said, I think I made a team that worked, but I am more than capable of hearing other people's opinions on these, because I'm never usually 100% set on a team, usually. I'm more than willing to hear someone else's different opinion on a team. But let's get down to this. So right out of the gate, I wanted a Pokemon that represented his relationship with Batman, because that is basically the key relationship in Jason's life. Now, I could have also put something that represented the Joker on here, because the Joker technically is part of what made him, but I actually didn't feel like that was right. There'd be no real reason for him to have that on his team. But a Pokemon that represents Batman is definitely on the table. And unfortunately, we really only have 3 true Bat Pokemon. Now, you might be saying, what about Woobat and Swoobat? Yeah, those are technically... Woobat is a bat. I believe it's based on the Heart-Nosed Bat. But Swoobat is clearly not a bat. And if it is a bat, it's something combined with a bat. Neither of them, either way, really work for Batman. So really, you're just left now with Zubat, Golbat, and Crobat. So which one did I side upon? Well, in terms of, design, I felt Golbat was the best case. Now, we should know, there really isn't a perfect Pokemon to represent Batman in the Pokemon world. It just isn't. When you factor everything that goes into being Batman and what he represents, there just isn't a perfect Pokemon for that. There's, better Pokemon that represent better other characters. Like, for instance, I could throw, a Zangoose or a Sandslash as a Wolverine stand, and that's actually not a bad... And there's probably a better one out there that I'm just not thinking of. I'm just throwing one out there. Frieza and Mewtwo, that's almost like, simpatico right there. But Batman, the closest thing we have is a bat. And I chose Golbat over Crobat due to the fact that Golbat is just a more aesthetically similar Pokemon to Batman. Crobat is more powerful and far faster. But it's just, design-wise, I would not think of that for Batman. At least not initially. If I made a Batman team, let me rephrase that. When I make a Batman team, I will probably end up going with the Crobat, because he is about, optimal performance, strategy, all that. So he will try to have the best of all the worlds on his team there. But Golbat, I think it's just the more aesthetically appropriate Pokemon to represent Batman. Add on to the fact that Jason is not as strong or skilled or anything as Batman. So the fact that he'd have the second stage instead of the final stage would make a lot of sense, in my opinion. Then then there's always this aesthetic appeal. You always kind of want a Pokemon that if the character looks unique enough, you want to see if you can find a Pokemon that matches that. And with that Red Hood, I'm like, okay, there's not much that's like Red Hood type Pokemon. You do have, Drugadon, the dragon from Sinnoh. I can never pronounce Unova, though I can never pronounce his name. It does have a red head, but there's not really anything draconic about Jason. So I'm like, oh, well, what about Bisharp? And I'm like, okay, Bisharp's got a red head, plus he's a steel and dark type. Dark to represent the darker aspects of Jason's personality. He's more than willing to kill. He is certainly in some respects, more dangerous than someone like Batman to some degree just because of that. He's also not altogether there. So dark works out well. And the steel represents the fact that he does wear a lot of body armor. So, and obviously he has the red head or to represent Red Hood. So yeah, I like that choice for adding the aesthetic appeal of that. Then we got to go basically into the combat aspect of Jason. Jason is a master hand-to-hand combatant. He's a master of hand-to-hand combat and a master combatant. And I'm like, okay, at least 2 Pokemon have to be on this team. And one of the Pokemon is for a very specific reason, the other's for a different reason. The first one I put on was Toxicroak. Now, Toxicroak I chose due to the fact that Jason is not only a master martial arts, but he knows a couple martial arts specifically, like ancient styles, that are used to specifically target the specific spots of the opponent that can either shut down mystical abilities or temporarily paralyze them and cause them a lot of pain. Now, Toxicroak is based off of Poison Dart Fox, similar to Croagunk. And it's clearly designed in terms of a fighting style to be like the jab, pressure point, and with poison involved as well. Hence the poison spikes on its hands. So I felt this was very appropriate. Now, Toxicroak also came to mind for another reason of combat. And that's due to the fact that Jason is a user of Venom. Now, I don't believe he's used it recently. I think he got off it, but he doesn't use it anywhere near to the same extent that Bane does. But he is a user of Venom, so I wanted a Pokemon that could represent that. And at first, I thought Toxicroak could be a really good representation of that. But I'm like, okay, the poison. But I'm like, I realized there is an actual Pokemon move that really references Bane's Venom and what it does: Bulk Up. And Toxicroak does not learn Bulk Up. So I'm okay. What else do we have? There's plenty of fighting type Pokemon. Can I think of one? And I'm like, actually, this one I like. And it puts the legendary. Actually, it puts one of the legendary. Spoiler, there's 2. Actually, technically they're mythical. I don't know. Is Kung-Fu legendary, mythical, or either or? That I just realized we treat Urshifu and Kung-Fu as mythical or legendary, but I don't know if it's actually stated that they are. I'm gonna check that when this is all said and done. Either way, even if it was Urshifu. Particularly single strike style Urshifu because it is fighting in dark. Again, to represent the more harsh nature of Jason Todd. The fact that he is damaged, the fact that he does have a lot of rage, the fact that he does lash out and kill people. And the fact that this is like a master martial artist Pokemon, and he has been trained in the ancient ways, and this is clearly a more ancient style looking martial arts Pokemon, that I felt that was a very appropriate Pokemon to have on the team. So now we get to the last 2 Pokemon, and I remembered this ability from Jason, and I'm like, okay, I do want this on the team somehow. I want this to be represented on the team. And unlike before, I'm going to actually reveal these last 2 Pokemon immediately because they both tie into the one ability. So Jason has actually an ability called the All Blade, if I'm not mistaken, which in the presence of true, unfiltered, unadulterated evil, he can just manifest these blades. He's been able to manifest dozens before. Well, okay, that's cool. This tells, but in terms of like Pokemon context, these are like Pokemon he can only bring out in special occasions. So what do we have though? Well, for blades, obviously a Honedge would have to be there. But what about summoning something out of thin air? That is a very unique ability. Like anything that has metronome could, in theory, do that. But it would have to be a Pokemon that can basically pull things from other places and just bring them into being. Teleport kind of works that way, but ultimately, it came down to, that didn't work out the way I wanted. Oh, no wonder it didn't work out the way I wanted it to. 1 second. There we go. Hoopa and Honedge. I forgot they were directly behind that image also. Hoopa and Honedge. Now, you might be asking, why not Doublade? Or why not Aegislash? And you know what? That's a fair point. In theory, I could have gone any of those. I probably would not have gone Aegislash. Aegislash is both the ultimate shield and sword. But Honedge and Doublade, particularly Doublade, might have been the better option to go with. I chose Honedge for the time being because he generally can only summon one, but he can summon up to more than one. Like, he can summon dozens at a time if he really needs to. So that's why I went with Honedge, because he generally just goes with the single blade when he needs to, but he can go, or the double blade. But the single is more likely. And then Hoopa, particularly Hoopa Unbound here, because he's just the better version of it. I could have gone to standard Hoopa. I could have. Is obviously the Pokemon that can, basically cause rifts, dimensional rifts, just pull things out of nowhere. In the Hoopa Unbound movie, he's just bringing legendaries into the fray like no one's business. So ultimately, yeah, I felt like these two combined together really represented the whole All Blade thing. So that is Jason Todd, the Red Hood's Pokemon team, folks. Again, we have Bisharp, just really for the aesthetic appearances, but also the fact that it is dark to represent the darker aspects of Jason, and it's a steel type to represent the fact he wears a lot of body armor. Golbat to represent his relationship with Batman. And the fact, again, Batman would have a Crobat versus the Golbat, and it makes sense that Jason would have the second one down. And because he's Jason, even though his Pokemon care for him, he probably could not evolve his Golbat into a Crobat. We have Toxicroak to represent fighting style of Jason being somewhat more. He has the general, standard fight with my fists and legs kind of stuff too. But he knows specific martial arts to target certain points to cause paralysis and shut down magical abilities. Urshifu to represent the dark mastering fighting styles himself, the ancient styles he's learned, and the dark aspects of his personality. And then obviously Honedge and Hoopa to represent the All Blade, which together they kind of represent that as a whole. So that is Jason Todd, Red Hood's Pokemon team. That is just my opinion on the team, though. Let me know if you feel different about the team. If you do, that's cool. Let's talk about it in the comments below. What's your team look like for him? Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. We've got the box office left, but that's not updated for a while. And I'm going to be pre-recording a minimum my what if for tomorrow because the week of what if is coming up. And I've got the time here. I'm currently, again, at my friend's place house setting. So I've got all this space, this acoustics, and I got no one to bother me. So yeah, I'm gonna at minimum get the next what if done. I'm gonna wait on doing maybe the who would win until maybe later today because I need to go through all of my suggestions for the who would wins to be sure that no one else has given me said suggestions. So yeah, because I've only just wrote them down, and be like, okay, that's what I'm doing today, or that's what I'm doing this week. I got it down just to make sure no one else gave me that, so I give everyone who gave me the suggestion credit, because I always want to do that. I always want to be fair to the people who gave me the suggestions. Anyway, I digress. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you folks later.